Hey guys, and welcome to another Coach Dave Academy lap guide from me, James Armstrong from Bradman Esports. Today we'll be going round Magny Cours for the Porsche Cup Fixed Series for week 11. Without further ado, let's get into it. So here we are, we're just setting up for our hot lap. So the last chicane, it is very important to get a good exit, but it's very difficult as well. You can't really slow it down like Suzuka last week, for example, where we stayed right to the right and pulled it into the left. You can't do that here because you've got to maintain the speed, otherwise the car spins. So to set the lap up, over the curb, just avoid the big orange bit because that spins the car. On the left, just sort of the car lands just on the edge of the track limits. I think you get a slow down or a off track if you get any more to the left, and it's very bumpy. On the power, gently as well, because when the car's bouncing, very easy to lose traction. And there we are, onto the start of the lap. You want to keep the car all the way at the right. This is not an off track. If your left tyres come off this rumble curb here, that's the off track. Turning in, I sort of follow the curbing as it comes in, but the off track I think stays out here. So if you had more downforce magically, then you could turn in later, but I turn in at the end of the wall, orange end of the wall, follow the edge of the track. Tap of the brakes, 20-25%, just helps the front of the car load up. You can run over this brown bit, it's got the same grip as the rest of the track, it feels like. But any more and you get an off track. Like if you touch the, any more on the brown is an off track, especially if you touch the grass. Once you get onto the brown, you can get onto the power. You can use, this is not an off track over here, but you won't be able to get the car back in. So you've got to keep the car about halfway across the track. Maybe, about halfway across the track, just over half. Bring it back in, run over this brown stuff again. Just helps open up the corner. And as you run over the brown, off the throttle, but gently on the brakes. It's really easy to lock a front right here, I found. So once you come off this bump and you know the car's settled, then you can start applying the brake a bit more, as you can see. I bring the brake in gently, then up once I go over the crest and into the banking of the corner. Run over the green on the inside. You can see running over green there. And then letting the car wash really wide. You can wash it wider out, and then you pull the downshift to third to help pull the car in. However, I decided this lap that I was going to downshift a bit earlier and keep the car slightly tighter. Once you've got halfway around the corner, it's quite hard really to spot when to come back on power. Maybe when you're in line with this this orange Marshall post and the Marshall there. You want to bring it in about 80%, not quite 100% because the rear can slide, especially in third gear. As you see, I short shifted here to fourth just to stop the car from sliding. And then you can run the car all the way out. Here I didn't quite get as far as you can go, but the off track is when all your tires come off the red and white curb. Keep the car to the right for the shortest distance on the straight and into a very tricky braking zone. I brake just before this marking on the road here, 150 meters. Very heavy on the brakes. As you can see, I'm almost 100%. And you can hold that really heavy input for quite a bit, but as the speed comes off, you need to bleed the brake off as well. Otherwise, you'll start locking up the rears and the fronts. As you can see, we're getting close to the turning point, and I've still got 75% brake. Get the car right slow down, begin to turn in once the arrow board telling you which way to go disappears out your view. And as you turn in, very quickly bleed off the speed, otherwise you'll lock the front right. Here, you want to just clip the apex right in the middle of the corner, just touching the curb, and then get on power quite aggressively. There's a lot of traction here because the corner's banked slightly and it's very grippy. So you can get on power pretty much instantly, full power, second gear. I don't use first gear, but first gear can be used. And then short shift second if you wanted. But yeah, on power, use all the track on the exit. I think, yeah, you can't get the off track unless you're in the gravel. So, yeah, all of the exit curb. Down here, keep the car to the left, run the shortest distance. This corner here is quite a tricky one as well. You want to run over the grass here on the entry to bring the car as far left as possible. Braking where the dirt is, or just before the 50. Not too much though, 50 and then bring it like straight off. Hit the curb with... You can hit the curb more. It just depends on if you want the... Like you can hit the curb more, it's not slower, it just bounces the car a bit more. So I like to hit the car with just the right wheels just touching the orange, but you can go until your tire's like over this side of the orange. This left here, if your left wheels go over the white line, there's a slowdown. So that's about as much really as you can go on the left. But yeah, once you come off the curb, pretty much full power. Come off the power slightly just to make sure you don't wash wide on the exit. And then back full power. This one also a very tricky one to support your braking. Honestly, there's not really much to look out for. I just when I'm like halfway between this corner and the end of the curb, that's when I start braking. Keep the car very much to the right. In fact, you can go even more to the right here. You can have your tire on the curb. And you just follow the darker patch of the line in. You trail brake in a lot. This corner requires a lot of trail braking. All the way until you get to here, halfway through the corner. And then just touching the curb. You don't want to touch it too much because it's quite a big curb and it'll slide the rear when you get on power. 75% really helps the car rotate getting on the power like that. And then full power. You can run over the green, but I wouldn't recommend going in the gravel here as it unsettles the rear. So just a quick dip through the gravel. This corner here, it always feels like you might be turning in too early, but the grip really disappears when you come over the crest. So we're braking halfway between that line and the 100 board. It's about 75 meters. Pretty hard on the brakes. And then instantly we're turning in on this line. It feels like it's way too early, but as you come over the crest, you lose a lot of the grip. And then you want to avoid this orange sausage curb though on this one. So yeah, turning in on the white line, trail braking it in, of just avoiding the orange curb. Now this left, you can use a lot more of the track. Like as you can see here, my left wheels are very much over the white line and it's completely fine. No slowdown, no off track. And then get back on the power. I didn't really go 100% power between these two corners, just because it understeers the car too much. So 95% throttle, and then braking at the start of the curb here. Pulling the car to the left, quite heavy on the brakes, but bleed off quickly because the grip really runs out. And then turning in, and you can either avoid the curb like I did on this lap and get a good exit, or you can drive like 2 wheels across the curb where the mouse is, like that. They're both probably equally as quick. And then this one was a very difficult one to get on power. As you can see, I'm very slow on the power. 75%, 80%, 90%. Once I'm pretty much almost on the curb, that's when I finally go 100%. It's really like off camber, so there's not much traction at all. Coming into the last 2 corners, these 2 are probably the most tricky corners on the track. We're braking just after this marker here. Once the car is straight from that turn, braking 2 or 3 car lengths before 100 board. Very hard on the brakes. There's a lot of grip in this braking zone for some reason, so you can mash the brakes quite hard despite the fact you're not going very fast. Down at 2nd gear, turn it in. You can hit all of the curb, just miss the orange bit because the orange bit gives the car a bad bounce. And then back on the power. Not 100% though, only on the power maybe 90-80%. And you're just sort of feeling your way through the corner. It's hard to describe really. You just gotta maintain the speed, but not go too fast so you overshoot, but not too slow, because if you go too slow you get a really bad bounce. And the last chicane, once again, just avoid the big orange bit, let the car bounce over the left, wait for the car to settle, back on power, and that is a lap of Magny Cours. So there we have it guys, a full on-track analysis of the Porsche Cup car around Magny Cours. I hope everyone at home found this really useful for the upcoming races in week 11 of the Porsche Cup Sprint Series. We will continue to produce lap guides for the rest of the season. Make sure to check out more lap guides, top quality setups and coaching over at coachdavacademy.com or visit their Discord for more advice. Catch you all soon.